another glorious day, my tea sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comfort together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meech.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech.
Darling. Aha! What's going on? What's going on to all of my tea sippers, my crumpet dunkers, my tea brewers, my pot stirrers, and my tea leaf readers, honey. I know you have all of your crumpets together down because you know what time it is. It is time to dish tea, and you are dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meech. Now look here. I got to adjust this light because I'm looking like I'm just bleeding out and carrying on. Let me do this. This is not right. I'm supposed to have a glow, not like I'm sitting up here looking like we're all in the sun and just all of that. Hold on a second. Let me do this. I want to. No, I had nothing in the queue. Well, shit. I didn't necessarily want to go to a commercial break right yet. However, I'm still trying to play with this light, and I've got to get up from behind the camera. So let me do this. Okay, wait a minute. Go to the comments. Y'all let me. Am I looking okay, or do I look blowed out? To me, I look blowed out. Okay, y'all put in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking, because yeah, something is a little too bright, just a little too bright. Okay. Hey. Good evening. How are you, darling? How are you? Okay, so yeah, I want you guys to keep my co-hosts up in your thoughts and all of your prayers and carrying on. Yeah, it is too bright. Okay, yeah, I'm bright. Yeah, okay, I got to adjust this light because it's like, oh, I'm looking like I'm bleeding out and carrying on. Okay, like I'm too, yeah. Okay, but keep my co-hosts in your thoughts and your prayers and things because Nikki's still processing the death of her mom, and then Big Red just found some news his brother had to be rushed to the hospital, and it wasn't sounding good. So we haven't spoken since this morning, and I need to find out what's going on. He may be en route to Chicago to go and see what's up with his brother. So y'all keep that in prayer. Y'all know I'm still dealing with processing the death of my son. And I just came across some information yesterday that just kind of, everything now becomes personal. There was a press conference that was done down in Columbus, Georgia. The sheriff down there wanted to do a press conference to dispel some of the shit that was said during on social media carrying on. And it did not comfort me at all, because as far as I'm concerned, Muskogee County officials killed my son, and that's just how I'm gonna look at it. They can't tell me otherwise. They have no comforting words for me. They have nothing to give me, because had they done like we asked 2 weeks prior to my baby going to the hospital, my baby would not be in an urn. Okay. If they had done that, like we asked them, and like we called down there and told them, my baby's sick, he needs to see a doctor, we'll look into it, is all I was told. So, yeah. But, so, we're still trying to process all of that down. So give us a little do-I-diddy on that, okay? So here, what I have to do, I didn't want to take a commercial break so early, but I've got to adjust this light. And I have to get up from behind the camera. My co-hosts are not here, so I'm being solo. I don't want y'all to have you know, just me and an empty screen or whatever, even though I could be talking to you. What you say? Yeah, I know. What you say? Jails have no respect for Black lives. Honey, listen, we found out also that during the same week that my son passed, that like 2 or 3 days later, a 75-year-old Black man was found dead in his cell. Okay. So yeah, okay. So Georgia Bureau of Investigation are supposedly looking into all of that. And investigating. They're constantly saying there was no foul play. There was no foul play. No, the foul play is y'all asses didn't get these folks to the doctor in a timely fashion. That's the foul play. You did not get these folks to a doctor in a timely fashion. Whether you thought they were bullshitting or not, trying to get out of the cell or whatever the case may be, you were negligent and did not get these babies to the doctor in a timely fashion that could have prevented some of this stuff. You understand? So that's where I am with it. And yeah, we're going to go from there. So y'all give me a half a second. Let me entertain y'all with one of my commercials, and let me adjust this light, and I'll be right back. Okay? Yeah.
Whether you are a resident or visiting the ATL, if you need to satisfy your soul and your hunger with some good old-fashioned scrumptious victuals, then head on over to Tara Boulevard and feast at the Country Kitchen Cuisine Buffet. The Country Kitchen Cuisine Buffet has a mouth-watering array of delicious delicacies that will tempt your tummy, tantalize your taste buds, and please your palates. All of our items on the buffet are made from scratch, just like Grandma used to make. Try our meatloaf, the succulent fried chicken, the smothered pork chops, the short ribs, the fried and baked fish. Try our oxtails, the turkey wings, and don't forget some of those fantastic sides with the macaroni and cheese, cornbread dressing, greens, cabbage, red beans and rice, potatoes and gravy, and oh my God, don't forget the cornbread and those decadent desserts. Your hunger will not be denied. Come on down to the Country Kitchen Cuisine Buffet, located at 8562 Tara Boulevard in Jonesboro, Georgia. Come on down and tell them that Big Meech and Dishing Tea I sent you. Yeah.
All right, and we are back. Is that better? Yes. Okay. Oh, y'all see, I changed the backdrop too. And so, see, the chandelier, the light is reflecting off of it, and it's giving it a whole bit to do. So we had to darken that just a little bit. Okay, that's much better. Much better. Okay. So, you like that, huh? You like that, right? Yeah. Well, listen, this coming Sunday, over the weekend, we're going to go back to that particular restaurant, Country Kitchen. So down here in Atlanta, we're going to be down there somewhere between 12:30, I believe. I want to get there before the church children do, so that we can have and get our section and stuff together. Yeah. So come on down, honey. We think we're going to have a really good time up in there. Now, the thing of it is, I can't eat like I used to, honey, but oh, yeah. One of the things they will do is that whatever your plate is, honey, if you can't eat it all and you just sit down there and carry it on, you pay $2 for a to-go plate, and then let you take what's on your plate to go with you so it doesn't go to waste. And I think that's cute. That's real cute. That was a bonus for me. I'm like, okay, that's love. So be that as it may. So let's get into today's show. We may have a special guest coming up in here. I know Helena Hologram was saying she was going to be in, but she's out with the grandchildren, so she may not be at the computer just yet. But I want you guys to chime in on this, because this here is, we got a couple of things that we're going to be doing today, and it's going to be kind of heavy. Politics and carrying on today, because we really need to get to the bottom of some of this shit, okay? We talked about the CRT, the critical race theory, before on this particular show. However, there's a new development that just came down the pipeline in Tennessee. And Tennessee has now developed new guidelines for quote-unquote CRT. And this here is going to strike us as rather interesting, and it's going to set a precedent, because if Tennessee is doing it, then we know coming down the pipeline, other states are going to get wind of this and carry it on, and it's going to have a ripple effect. Now, for those of you who don't believe in the CRT and this, that, and that, I really want to hear your side of the story. If you don't think that critical race theory ought to be taught in schools or should be a curriculum, because it's not a curriculum as of yet, I want to hear from you. And this is not to sit down here so we can bash one another. I want to hear your thoughts on it so we can hear a perspective. Because, see, right now, what I'm hearing is bullshit. Okay? The perspective that I'm hearing is bullshit. Y'all, those I'm finna say proponents, but I'm trying to say the adversaries against the critical race theory as a curriculum or whatever. Y'all trying to rewrite history. Okay, y'all trying to rewrite history, and with everything that we know about what they say CRT is supposed to be, if you look at our laws, if you look at the prison systems, if you look at education, if you look at policies that are being made, you did that to yourselves. This is what we have woven into the fabric of American existence. Everything about us in this, as the United States of America, and everything, race has been intertwined in this. Wait a minute. So much so that the goddamn Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, has race woven in it, because Black folks were still considered to be 3/5 of a person. So how in the hell is race not interwoven into shit, and the very document that we say governs this land automatically has us in it by saying that Black folks were 3/5 of a person? Everything else according to that goes along. If this is not about race, then why is it that Blacks have to fight for the right to vote? That did not happen, and we didn't get those privileges until 1965. 1965. I was born in 1970. Okay. Come on now. I was born in, so 5 years before I came into existence was when Black folks were able to say yes and were able to vote and go cast a ballot. 5 years before I came into this planet, onto this planet. I'm 51. So I mean 56 years ago. How many of y'all are 56 and older? Yeah. Yeah. And so we're still talking, and then you say that CRT is not, I'm gonna read y'all this thing from Tennessee. Hold on. I got Buckner and came up in here. And it should be taught in schools. Hell yes, it should be taught in schools. Governor Kemp of Georgia is against it. Okay, doesn't surprise me. It is critical that each African American person should always educate the children on race and race issues. You know what? And let's put a pin right there. Each African American person should always educate the children. I'm going to say that one more time. Each African American person should always educate the children. Okay? You can't tell my history the way I can tell my history. Okay? And then now we have history. We got stuff that's fable. We have stuff that didn't make it to the history books that became part of our heritage. You know, a lot of the slave stories and stuff from my I've heard me say this before. My great grandmother, Eliza Smith, was a slave. Okay. And she was branded. I never saw the brand in her back. My mother did, but I didn't. Okay. This is my grandmother's mother. Okay. She was a slave. So to sit down and to listen to those stories and to understand their disdain when they talk about race issues and why Blacks don't like whites, there was a point of reference that she had because of what her life was. So all that we were doing and being taught coming up was about how we were supposed to be better than them, how we were supposed to sustain ourselves, how we were supposed to always be above reproach. Okay, we were taught to be above reproach. Okay, so that nothing can be said about you. That's why your speech had to be intact. Your clothes had to be ironed and carried on. We took pride in understanding what our names were, even though, for my power to the people children who say, oh, that's your slave name. We had to be proud of that name because you didn't only represent yourself, you represented your training. How many of y'all sit up there? This is an old saying. They don't say that too much anymore. I know your mama ain't trained you to do no shit like that. Well, your home training, okay? And carrying on, right? That's because that's what this was all about, especially when you got out in public. When you got out in public, you had to act like you had some sense. Why? Because it wasn't about bringing attention onto you so that it would cause the white supremacists and the white nationalists and those who felt like blacks didn't have, wasn't supposed to have, okay? It caused it. We did not want anything to bring them up against us to cause any kind of unnecessary battles and issues and carrying on. You know what I'm saying? We had to be above reproach. Now, being above reproach also meant that sometimes because you were that, hey, sometimes we had to take the hits, you know, because folks would just want to fuck with you anyway. You know what I'm saying? So this here, it's a slippery slope at times, but these are the things that we have to do with our children and our children. We have to make sure that those stories, that information is passed on down the line. How many of y'all know what it was that your great-grandparents were? Do you know your family lineage and your history? Everybody would have run to Ancestry.com and shit to find out who they are. But if you sit down and listen to the old folks some damn time and listen to where they came from, find out what your roots are and carry on, you know, we could do this. We could actually do this. Let me go here. K. Godfrey Easter. Now, you know what? I know this is God because I've been trying to find you. I done sat down and done hit you up on all kinds of damn places, boy. I've been looking for you. Yes, I have. You don't do nothing with your LinkedIn. I was on your LinkedIn trying to find you, and here you are here. So good to see you, sweetie. You need to inbox me, okay, with the phone number. The reason Republican leadership doesn't want Americans to learn about critical theory is the same reason Christian leadership doesn't want their followers to learn about true origins and the history of Christianity. Fear. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Okay, now let's go there. Let's go there. Okay, let's go right there. The question becomes, what is the fear? And that's something that I want folks to sit down and to articulate, you know, because we could say fear all the time, but do they know what they're afraid of? What is it that has them so hellbound in fear to where they're trying to protect themselves from it? Is it being exposed? Is it being accountable? Is it being responsible? Because, you know, now that we're here, we get to all the arguments of, well, slavery happened over 400 years ago. Why are we still talking about it? Y'all need to stop talking about it. Y'all need to get over with your life and blah, 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 blah. You know, we got black folks that sit down there and say that. You know, the Candace Owens and you know, those black Republicans that always sit there and say, oh, I'm not a victim. You know, America is America, you know, and they have a point to a point. You know, they choose not to live under the guise of, oh, the man done got me down. They don't want to live up on that. And no, I'm not saying that they're wrong for that because, hell, I think most of us don't live up under that umbrella. But we do got that hand, that select few, okay, that give us that definition, and all black folks do that because they're looking for excuses as to why they don't want to achieve, why they want to sit down there and stay up on the black market. You know, everybody want to do that one of their illegal hustles and shit, you know, in order to do some shit, instead of saying, hey, we got to knuckle down and care. Now, my family, my family was real big on pick yourself up by the bootstraps, because it was always about family here to help family. But if you're not showing us that you want to do something, ain't nobody finna come out their pocket to give you an assist just to help you with a habit. Nobody does that. Okay, this is all about making sure you get your shit together to progress. Now that was my family on both sides of my family. Okay, so that there is where this is. But we got those handful that always got an excuse. Don't want to do nothing. You know, every time, how many of y'all got those folks that every time they own a goddamn job, they own it and then they end up getting fired or they quit. And it's always somebody else's fault. They can't never hold down a damn job. 2, 3 months, 4 months in, they done got fired. You know, only just past the 90-day stage. Oh, I can't stand it. The motherfucker fucking with me. Fucking with you how? You ain't been done long enough. You know what I'm saying? Fucking with you how? What the hell did you do or not do? And then you go on to the next job. Here it is, 4 months, 5 months. You didn't even make the 6-month mark. Boom. Here you go. You done got fired again. Or better yet, how about you done made it to the 5th month and you decide to quit because that ain't what you wanted to do. I'm better than this shit. They ain't paying no money. How many of y'all know folks like that? I know a shitload of them. Okay. And every time you turn around, it's always somebody else's fault. Right? And it's not like nothing. And let me say this, because I'm going to put my own ass on the line here. Because I'm going to say I used to do that. Okay. I would be on the job and I would leave the job. I left the job because it interfered with what it is I wanted to do. As an actor, as an entertainer, you know, I had a gig. I was trying to get a paid gig. So entertaining was more than working a damn security job to me. You know, so if I got a gig and I needed to be at a rehearsal or whatever, and my job wouldn't let me have the gig, you know, then we had a problem. We had a conflict of interest. Okay. So after so long, as they weren't working around my schedule, I left that job and went to go find something else that would give me the flexibility so I could do my gig. It wasn't like, oh, they fucking with me and this and the other. I was going to another job. You understand? That was part of what it is I wanted to do with my passion, with building my career. You understand? But we got folks that sit down there and go through all this little bullshit simply because what? Nothing. Okay? They think that the world is supposed to just hand it to them on the silver platter. Or better yet, for my pimps, ballers, and shot callers who's sitting up there thinking that you got the dick of life. Okay, and because your sex is good, and because you can make a bitch ooh, okay, and get her or him to, or my trans sisters, her, okay, to put you up, and you got them taking the check to go get you some clothes instead of the children's, okay? She making sure that she got your favorite foods and stuff in the refrigerator with the food stamps, okay, to make sure you have breakfast in the morning and carrying on. But you only come by when it's check time, and you stay until the check is gone. Then you go bounce into the other bitch you're fucking, okay? Yeah, all right, because you pimping and you balling and you shot calling, okay, and then you think somebody's supposed to put up with that shit, okay? If I sound personal with it, because I am, because I used to get upset with my mother about a particular somebody, and I had never had this particular conversation with her, but when she decided to break it off, I was glad. I know it hurt her, but I was glad because I felt like my mother was too smart to be used by this motherfucker. And I saw through it because I didn't like him. You know, because, you know, I was going through the he ain't my daddy phase because my parents had broken up. But for me, it was, okay, I'm tired of this. Okay, I am tired of this. I'm tired. And every time you come around, you want to bark orders and shit as if you the man of the house. Bitch, you ain't been here. You know, but then, but you don't know what he has been doing. Hell, the food that came up in here, he did, you know. So I don't know I didn't know the particulars as a child. You know, all I know is what I saw visually. Okay. Then I got my girlfriends that carried on. You got this motherfucker sitting up in here. All he want to do is smoke weed all motherfucking day. Smoke weed and play video games. But because he got some good dick, bitch, you think that's the dude. He talk a good game. Oh, he got ideas up the ass. Okay, he help you with the kids. Okay, he's a good disciplinarian and carrying on. Lovely. But what is he doing to sustain you? Because everything coming out your pocket. Okay, and when he does get a couple of little dollars, what do y'all do? Y'all go, that's the weed money, or that's his cocktail money, or whatever. He may put a couple of dollars in the gas tank if y'all was driving, or may get you a bus pass, maybe. But his money, because it came far and few in between, was to make sure y'all got y'all stash, and that way you didn't have to go bust no stamps or nothing to make sure you got, a little dime bag or whatever. Really. So let's do it. Let's do it. But come on up in here. We'll bring you in. I'm gonna go to the comment. White folks don't want black folks to get revenge. Ooh, okay, that's big. We as people of color don't want revenge. We want them to acknowledge what was done and how it has affected black people today. It affected educational opportunities, employment opportunities, housing opportunities, health disparities. Okay, yes. Now here's what it is, and I think that there is a fear, because I remember, if y'all do some research, you can probably find this up on YouTube, because I remember this is where I found it. Right when President Obama was running for his first term. Okay.
What up?
Was it the first one or the second one? Because when he was running up against McCain, was that the second term?
That was first term.
That's first term. Okay. What came out of that? There was some town hall meetings. One of these commentator reporter type things like us. He had went into this particular backwood place, child. And he interviewed all these Caucasian folks or whatever, and it was good to see. I liked that they had an honest response. But there was one woman who said something that shook me. And she said she didn't want no black president because she was afraid that the black folks was going to get in power and make white folks slaves.
Mm-hmm.
That came out of her mouth. And that crushed me to a degree, because I'm like, if she believes that, I'm sure many folks within her town believe that. So the power of black folks being in power to all of a sudden flip the script is one of the fears. I don't know if that's the entire fear, but that's one of the fears. Okay. And it was like, really? And ever since then, I have been looking at America and really trying to see how true that was. And after this whole campaign with number 45, Agent Orange, the Trumponians, honey, absolutely proved that. The Trumponians proved that. And the black ones did too. The black Trumponians, they proved that. Okay? Because anytime Candace Owens had the nerve to have this come out of her mouth, that George Floyd, she did not celebrate George Floyd's death or want to participate in that or whatever, because he was not a martyr. He was not, George Floyd is not a martyr. He was a criminal. He was a this, he was a drug user. And why are we putting him on the pedestal? Bitch, ain't nobody put him on no pedestal. This was not a pedestal that we put him on. He became the face of what police brutality has done in this particular country. And the thing, and why he became the face of it, was because of the heinousness. We had all the ones that had happened before him, but that was live and it was in front of everybody. And then on top of it, see, here's what I truly believe. Most of the time that a lot of the shit that happened to a lot of the black folks, and usually when they say, oh, well, he was a criminal, he was a this, is because most folks think that, oh, they don't have rights. Oh, because that they criminals, that they supposed to just be treated any kind of way because they bucked up against the law. That ain't what this is.
Right.
Okay, that's not what this is. Anytime anybody is in that particular mindset, then baby, you missed the whole point of what this is. Especially for a black person to say some bullshit like that. A black person to say some shit like that and mean it. Either you trying to kiss some ass because you afraid that it's going to fuck with your money, or bitch, you have been so brainwashed up in here to where you don't know right from wrong. Because this here is beyond. It's beyond that of being a color thing. See, it's not just black against white. This was cops against people. because the black cops are doing it too. You see, we just had black cops kicking bitches in the head and shit. Handcuffing. Atlanta officer just did that.
Right.
This woman on the ground handcuffed. A woman. Now, a woman.
Yes.
On the ground handcuffed.
Mm-hmm.
And because she spit at him or on him some kind of way on the ground. Now, she just spit in his face. She spit at him, supposedly. He kicked her in her motherfucking head. Kicked her.
Yeah.
Okay? And y'all want to believe that, oh, well, because she ran the line, she was against the law, that's supposed to be proper behavior. You know what I'm saying? And that I'm having a problem with that. So going back to the CRT, the critical race thinking or theory, a part of this thing, everything about our country has been interwoven with race. And for our good white folks out there, let me say this. I know the black pundits and the power to the people children may see that your contributions may be either, I'm gonna say irrelevant, but let me put it this way. We don't need you to come on board to play the Sally Struthers card. What do I mean by the Sally Struthers card? I don't need for you to sit up there like she did with the starving children. Okay, to get the crying and carrying on. But yet every time we turn it around, honey, every commercial she done made, that bitch done gained 20 pounds. So it looked like she eating up the damn food. Okay. Here's what I mean by you playing the Sally Struthers card. Anytime that you get up here and say, okay, we need these kind of programs, and you seem like you're advocating for us, then let the money come to where it's supposed to go. I don't need for you to build the program, and then you get all the money, and because you're the face of it, everybody praising you, oh, great white savior, for doing it for black folks, and that's not what this is. And I know the intention, man, that's not the intention, but what happens in mainstream is that that's how it becomes, and then you become the face of a black organization. Okay, your organization get all the money, and then you don't even help some of the other organizations get any other funding. Your organization get targeted. Your organization be the one to get it. My organization, they'll tell me that, oh, well, we either they ran out of money or I won't get funded because there'll be similar organizations in the neighborhood or whatever. You understand? And so that there is where this is. So I don't need you to Sally Struthers this. If you're coming in as an ally, then be an ally. Make sure that all the resources get distributed evenly. Make sure that everything that we say and do is for the upliftment of the people and not just for one singular organization. So you can sit down there and not that you're trying to get your flowers, but everything will go to you and your flowers, and then the people will still suffer. You see? So yeah. What you put up in here? This is what could
Okay, that's for anybody looking for information about the critical race theory. That is the Wikipedia version that will lead you to other things in regards to that. Okay, first of all, yeah, what we're gonna attempt to do is as we talk about some of these things, if I can research them right quickly and give you the info, we will do that. But okay, first of all, this is kind of interesting discussion because this is kind of part of what we talked about at work today.
Okay.
Here's the thing. There is an employee that we now have who is not African American. He is not white, but he's not African American.
Right.
He grew up with white people. There are white people in his family, but he is I forget the exact race per se. He appears more black than white, but there is white in his ethnicity.
Okay.
And so we had a discussion, and he brought up a very interesting point. He said that, okay, in regards to the displays of protest last year with George Floyd, he agrees with what you're saying. Yeah, these things have happened for many, many years. It's just those were live and in color. But then somebody mentioned something very interesting. I beg to differ. The first major altercation that a black person had in regards to police that was televised live and direct was not George Floyd, but actually Rodney King.
Rodney King.
We saw the beating live and direct. We seen them do it. The difference is at that time, when they all initially got off, that is what led to the riots in Watts, but it was more localized. at that point the CNNs and things of the world were not as public as they are now. You can't just pop up in Target and see CNN going on, or you didn't have cable as readily available as it is now. So that's part of what happened. The second thing is worldwide. A lot of worldwide people didn't have television to the extent that they do now, back in early 1990s. The second thing that happened is what made that possible also, soon after that, we had the OJ trial.
Right.
And what makes that important is the fact that it was the first time somebody that looked like us basically used the law to their advantage and got away with something. So it's not that we do not believe OJ did it, because OJ did it. He did it. The fact that he was able to use the powers that be to get off and be like, no, I'm not guilty. Same of why some people approve of the whole Bill Cosby thing. Whether you think he did it or not, the fact that he was able to use his coins to get him up out of it. There is that. But no, it all boils down to this. That was what happened. And then, of course, we have the recent election. And we all know, based upon how it all went down, when they get to counting the votes in Atlanta and Philadelphia and Detroit, and those are the votes that seem as the ones that made it happen, that is part of what brings us to today. We now have a situation where you have 50 states, 26 with Republican governors and 24 with Democrat. The difference is, look at where these Democratic governors are located. You got New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Detroit, all with Democratic governors, all with Democratic mayors. Those are major cities here in America, okay? And a lot of your Republican states, that's where all the folks is. So white folks, okay? So now, because the powers that be are polluting each other, because in the end, remember, it said that the parties really provide. So on the one hand, you got the people who are Republicans saying, no, man, look, Democrats, that's the party of the black people. Do you want the black people to take over? Remember, if it wasn't for us, Obama would have did whatever the hell he wanted to. Remember, the reason why he couldn't is because he was here, but the Republicans ran the Senate. The Republicans ran House of Representatives. You don't want to make it to where now you let Joe Biden have control of what the black people say, and also get rid of the filibuster and then control the House and the Senate fully to where they ain't got to worry about nothing. Then in the end, black people will take over and get whatever they want because they got Joe in their back pocket. That is part of why things like this, when they come up now with critical race theory, which basically, if you talk to a white person, and I have, they think, oh, okay, well, now we're going to teach history from a black person's perspective. No. No. That's the part that you don't get, stupid. It's not that you're teaching history from a black person's perspective. You're putting the black person's honest on what history was. Understand, there is no America as you know it now if it was not for the free labor, the usage of black people, the fact that they taught us not to be human beings, but more like animals, animalistic. And now you have those fears because, oh, now we treated them like animals, we raised them to be animals. Now they so much stronger and faster and whatnot of us. We're afraid that if we just let them take over, if they take away our guns and so on and so forth, then yeah, they have the power to overpower us. It's all these stupid things that we're trying to discourage by having critical race theory being taught. So you understand this is part of why black people see history the way it is, but this is also what it was, okay?
Understand and what it is. And right. What it is. That has to be taught in here, because it was one thing where we were talking about, well, black history is not being taught in the schools. Okay, that was one thing, and we're still trying to get that curriculum. I'm still trying to get my power to the people children who keep saying that we need we got to change the educational system. I post this to the Umar Johnsons and the Tariq Nasheeds and all of these scholars that's been on the Hidden Colors series and all of these scholars that do all the different documentaries that carrying on. I asked all of the Nation of Islam brothers that always have a documentary or something to say about black culture. Where are the textbooks? if you saying that the education needs to be changed, where the fuck are the textbooks? Where is the curriculum? Okay, where is the curriculum so that we can have some kind of basis to say, hey, this is what this is. We keep talking about the HBCUs. It's not even in the HBCUs.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Now, yeah, they have a Black history. You know, I think you can now major in Black history or African American studies in an HBCU college or university. But the curriculum that needs to be universal or omniversal, nationwide, there's no curriculum.
Right, because understand, in college, you are required to learn history. You're required to learn world history. You should also be required to learn African American history, seeing that it is a very key component in our history. Half of the reason why the Civil War even went on was because of that. And that was definitely a major war within the world, let alone America.
Let me tell you something down here in Georgia. If you come down here to Georgia as a transfer student, okay, and you have met your requirements for your history, you cannot get your degree until you take Georgia state history. Oh, yeah. How about that?
Interesting.
Okay. You cannot get your degree until you take Georgia state history to meet your history obligations.
Right.
Okay. Ridiculous. So I thought that was the most ridiculous thing, because I said, wait a minute, if I just told you that I have mastered history and I have all the credits needed for a degree, why in the fuck do I need to take Georgia history? Isn't it part of world history? Okay. Considering that all y'all talk about in Georgia is Martin Luther King, okay, and the Civil Rights March and the March in Alabama.
Right.
Okay.
And I understand a lot of what puts us behind the 8 ball, keeping in mind that I'm living here in Detroit, one of the worst cities in America in terms of graduation rate in recent years. Know that there are 2 separate curriculums in most of these high schools. There's the curriculum for the regular student, and there are the curriculum for the advanced and honor students.
Right.
Okay. And so what we are learning in honors classes, they're not even bothering with in the regular curriculum. So that's why you end up having conversations like I had earlier in the week with somebody my age that did not have a full understanding of what racism was. Well, yeah, Black people, like, you do realize other people besides Black people were slaves, right? Huh? You do realize why slavery started in the first place, right? We basically were human cattle that they traded for goods like sugar and tea and things of that nature. Had no idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, linen and cloth and carry
some reference materials. Shout out to you, by the way, if you are watching the podcast right now. Yeah, you remember what we talked about. I'm gonna make sure to you, by the way.
So let's go here, because see, I want to get to this CRT with Tennessee. Okay. Because like I said, what has happened, and this is from Nashville Scene. This is their newspaper, and this is dated for August 3rd, 2021. Okay. And it says Tennessee Department of Education releases new critical race theory guidelines. Okay. The Tennessee Department of Education on Monday released the latest set of guidelines requiring the state's new law banning the teaching of what has come to be known as critical race theory in public schools. During the most recent legislative session, Republican lawmakers were fixated on the issue, despite seemingly not being able to agree on what critical race theory even is, though neither the law nor the Tennessee Department of Education's guidelines specifically use the phrase critical race theory, and the concept is rarely taught in public schools. Teachers, schools, and even districts can be penalized for teaching lessons suggesting that certain races or sexes are, quote, inherently privileged, racist, sexist, or oppressive, end quote, among other ideas. Since the law was passed in May, teachers and school board members in Nashville have expressed concern regarding the limitations it may impose on classroom instruction. The new guidelines, delivered just a week before Metro Nashville public schools start back on August 10th, lay out more specific parameters that define what is and isn't acceptable when teaching topics like American history. Now catch this. The guidelines state that educators are allowed to teach, quote, the history of an ethnic group, quote, unquote, the impartial discussion of controversial aspects of history, and the impartial instruction on the historical oppression of a particular group of people based on race, ethnicity, class, nationality, religion, or geographical region, end quote. The document also provides specific details regarding the processes that could ensue if educators violate the standards of the law. Current students, parents, or school employees can file complaints. Catch that. Current students, parents, or school employees can file complaints if they feel that educators have taught any, quote, prohibited concepts, end quote. Okay? In parentheses, they say this is where you might see the phrase critical race theory if the law was actually prohibiting critical race theory. Anyone filing a complaint must provide specific details regarding the nature of the interaction within 30 days of the incident. If the complaint is deemed valid by the school education agencies, local school boards, or charter school administrators, the next possible step would be an early resolution in which the matter is settled between parents, teachers, and schools without a full-fledged investigation. Quote, without a full-fledged investigation. Catch that. If an early resolution cannot be reached, the district board has 60 days to investigate a complaint. If the complaint is substantiated, the district or charter school must, quote, take appropriate remedial action to ensure that prohibited concepts are no longer included in a course of instruction, curriculum, instructional program, or supplemental instructional materials, end quote. This might mean changing certain curriculum or disciplining teachers. Okay. Now, before corrective action begins, parties on both sides of a complaint have 15 days to appeal decisions made by the district or charter schools to the Tennessee Department of Education, who would then decide if it will refer cases to Education Commissioner Penny Schwinn. At that point, the commissioner would communicate her decision about the complaint in a letter. The process of appealing to the TDOE could take upward of 3 months. Even after a final decision is made, districts and charter school could still request a contested case hearing regarding the commissioner's decision. If after any of these steps, a complaint is upheld and an educator's actions deemed unlawful, the district or charter school would determine how to discipline the educator in question. If the TDOE were to decide that the district or charter school knowingly violated the law, they may be subject to a corrective plan, quote unquote, at which point funding can be held until the requirement of that plan have been met. For the first district penalty, the TDOE can hold a portion of the state's funds up to $1 million. And after 5 or more violations, up to $10 million can be withheld. So now y'all gonna fuck with their money. If you teach this, we're gonna take your goddamn money.
And understand, let's read through some of this red tape, okay? We talking about Tennessee. Tennessee, like most other southern states, they have certain counties that have primarily or majority people of color, okay? So Memphis and some places outside of Knoxville, things of that nature, this don't necessarily apply, okay? If you have 30 students and like say 28 of them are black and you teaching them about slavery and one mother may say something, that's not going to affect nothing. Bad teacher, shame on you. But then you go to Memphis, Tennessee, and one of the upper suburban Tennessee schools, and you are teaching the kids, this holiday called Juneteenth. Oh, they teaching about Juneteenth in school, man. Oh, that's that critical race theory shit. Yeah,
Right,
let me report all of it.
right.
There
You go.
nothing to do with that actual curriculum. All they got to do is call it that, and they taught race and blah 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 blah. And guess what? Now that school, they may only have 2 or 3 African American teachers, and that one particular teacher, who is a teacher of color, has said something. Now they're going through all this paperwork, probably suspended without pay or half pay and what have you. And then in the end, it's like, okay, well, here's the solution. Yeah, you go on somewhere. We can't afford to lose our money, so we're just gonna get rid of them. Yeah, that's how we're gonna solve it. It's all BS, people. Okay,
Right.
it is all BS.
Okay. Let me continue this because this is where it gets really cute. It is important to note the difference between the district and charter schools here. If a teacher at a charter school were to violate the law, the charter schools network is responsible for setting a course of action and possibly answering to the Tennessee Department of Education. These networks range in size from individual schools to charter school groups like KIPP, which contains 6 schools. All 132 district schools, however, fall up under the jurisdiction of the MNPF, which is the Metropolitan Nashville Public Schools. These latest guidelines surrounding the law were created by Penny Schwinn, who promised to deliver guidance on the law by August 1st. In June, Schwinn addressed what she characterized as her responsibility to create a, quote, framework to prevent propaganda like critical race theory from being taught in Tennessee classrooms, in a letter to Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson, Republican of Franklin. On Monday, Schwinn stood alongside Johnson, Governor Bill Lee, and other elected officials in the state capitol at a press conference about Tennessee's TCAP scores. I think, quote, I'm quoting, I think that history is incredibly important. Civics are incredibly important. Teaching children that is the most exceptional nation in the world is incredibly important, quote, Lee said. But political commentary is not something we need to teach children. Critical race theory is un-American. That's according to their governor. Now, that's the governor of Tennessee.
Republican.
Critical race theory is un-American. I'm going to repeat this quote. But political commentary is not something we need to teach to children, because critical race theory is un-American. Okay? I'm going to say that one more time because I'm going somewhere with this. But political commentary is not something we need to teach children. Critical race theory is un-American, end quote. Now, why did I say that so many times? Okay? Because one of the things that we have here, everything on television, when it comes down to fucking politics, is political commentary. When it comes down to voting, everything about your vote is commentary based on how you see what works in your family. You sit up there, you have to learn what the laws are in order to govern yourself accordingly. That's all commentary. So you saying, don't teach children political commentary when all you do around your house is talk about how black folks done did this. You got the immigrants that did this and the Mexicans that came in and did that. That's commentary.
Exactly.
Okay, that's commentary. But you say they can't be taught. When all we do is talk about, when we do mock elections in school, what is that? That's based on how you feel, based on what you got. When you sit down there, they say, what's your opinion on this? How do you feel about that? That's commentary. Based on what you know. And then when they say, oh, well, you don't know your facts, because if you know this and know this and know this, that may influence your decision because what you're saying is wrong. So what do? You educate folks based on their commentary, because your commentary is, you give commentary based on your learning. You're only going to talk about what you know. Okay? And if you don't know, it's going to come out. Right? So all this shit he just said is bullshit.
Yeah.
Now you say critical race theory is un-American. Really? When I, just like I said at the top of this damn thing, how can it be un-American when race is embedded in the motherfucking Constitution? When you say black folks are 3/5 of a person,
Right.
it's already embedded in the Constitution. So how is it not? And then you say,
here's the thing: you want to talk about Georgia history, which I'm sure includes what went on during the Civil War. So you're learning about Confederate generals and things of that nature. Is that not commentary? How American is that? That you have people that led revolts against people so that your state can continue to enslave people.
How about this?
So they can get free labor.
How about this?
Very American.
How about this? Since we're going to go here, you erected statues. We have buildings named after all these so-called Southern generals who were part of the Confederacy.
Facts.
Not the United States. They were part of the Confederacy that lost. The Confederacy lost. But we're doing so much to make sure we preserve their history.
Right.
Preserve what that is for the South.
Exactly.
And that's not commentary.
Right.
Folks who feel like these were great men, and this is part of Southern, because it's not American heritage. They say this is Southern heritage. Catch that?
Yes.
Okay. They say this is part of the South. This is part of the Southern heritage. Okay. So a lot of folks who stand, and I'm not saying they shouldn't. I don't want y'all to hear me. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because there's some things about Detroit that I know is ours. Verner's is ours. They fucked up the formula, but Verner's is ours.
Yeah.
Faygo Pop is ours. Okay. Better made potato chips is ours.
No doubt.
Okay. And we're going to stand behind it.
We can keep going.
Okay. Stroh's ice cream. Come on.
Yeah, there you go.
That's us. Okay. So I get it. At the same time, that's conjecture. Because those are my beliefs and how we feel about Detroit. Everybody don't give a fuck about damn Detroit. Most folks ain't heard of Faygo. Okay. Down here in Georgia, they know Red Rock. They don't know Verner's. Okay, so it becomes that. So if you got conjecture and subjectivity, honey, all of it becomes commentary. So what the hell is this man talking about?
Right. Bottom line, understand there are other people learning our history. All these immigrants that are coming in from South America and whatnot, you're going to put them in a school, and you're going to teach them, seeing that they have no actual dog in the fight because they are neither white nor black. And you're going to say to them, okay, at one point in time, Americans were brought here. They were enslaved, forced to work for free, taken away from their families in other countries.
Right.
Not allowed to educate themselves, not allowed to have their own anything. And then moved around as you saw fit. And then in 1865, it all ended, and that was that.
All right. Hello. Okay, let me bring Red up in here while I go to the comments and then pull us out so we can all be seen. Okay, what we got? Yep, that's correct. It was like that when we were in school. 2 separate curriculums, one for college prep and the other one for general education. That's right. That's sure enough. Because if you were college prep, honey, that was saying that you were smart and you were this. General education only gave you the basics. And most of the time, those who were in general education, they were trying to funnel you to a goddamn vocation, a Votech center.
Exactly.
Okay, they were trying to funnel you
over that GM and whatnot. Exactly.
Yes. Okay. When I was in the 8th grade, I had to take Georgia history for a year in order to graduate, and it wasn't an elective. And all that time, this was taught. This was taught in black schools. Not one time did they tell us the real truth of the Confederate flag. It was watered down, and this was in 1984-85 school year. Hello. Right. Okay, the children. When there you say that governor will say that crap about race, critical race theory is un-American because he's not looking in a real black person's face. He sits in his political office that makes him live in a sewage field fishbowl, swimming with other ignorant whites like himself and sell out people of color because he's addicted to the power. See that power base there? Anybody who gets into politics, that power base is a motherfucker. And when folks get addicted to it and you know, get all the perks from it, because it's not always monetary. It's about the perks. You know, I can do this, or I may be able to go here, or I, you know, flex a little muscle here and there, and it's all cute. But you know, this here is where it is. But oftentimes, when you have folks who want to spit out this is because they know where their power base is. If they saying this because they know the majority of the voters feel that way, that there is a political move to stay in power. And I wish we would get into a place where politics will sit down there and look at the good of the people versus the good of a subjective of a subjugated folk. Because if you sit up here saying, okay, well, I know they're gonna vote this way, somebody needs to sit down there and say, listen, this is what it is for the people. I know my voters say this, okay? And if the majority of the constituents are here, this may put me in the quandary because I know we need this for the people. Okay, if you're able to talk that language, then talk it. See, this is the part that upset me about people. Every time they want to sit down and say Obama was the reason why same-sex marriage is a law now. Okay, and he's not the goddamn reason why it's law. It's the people that voted for it, because Obama didn't have a goddamn vote. The president did not have a vote. And here's what this is. When he sat down there and said, my personal beliefs have changed because I at one time thought this, but I got to seeing how my daughters interact with their friends who have same gender parents. And I'm able to watch what goes on, and I'm able to see it because I've never seen it before. My opinion has changed. And yes, I feel that. He didn't say, let's go vote to make this happen. Everybody jumped on that, talking about something that was his fault. That's a motherfucking personal opinion. Those who you mad at are the folks who voted for it. Obama didn't vote for it, damn it.
All he did was sign off and end. That's it.
All he did was sign off and said we're gonna make it into law because y'all approved it. Your representatives approved it. So get the fuck off his goddamn ass for that shit. That wasn't him. That was not him. Another thing that gets to me is that folks, we again, and I'm talking about my community because it seems like nowadays my community has started this whole new wave of this fucking fire, and that there nobody can have personal opinions anymore. Okay, a personal opinion now comes up under fire. It comes up under everything because see, a sub point to today's show is that I'm asking is, what really is an American these days? Do we know what a real American is? Huh? Yeah. Do we know what an American is?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes it seems like we get this shit motherfucking it backfires. Are we really a democracy?
No.
Okay. Are we really a fucking democracy? Because right now it seems that we are really becoming into a dictatorship, a totalitarianship. Okay. It's do as I say, not as I do. And fuck you and your damn opinions, because if you don't think like I do, then fuck you. I have zero fucks for you, and you need to go on the island somewhere. It's always about getting rid of the rejects or whatever. What the hell is this? Because what's supposed to be our strength is now quickly becoming our weakness.
Yo, do you remember this book? I'm trying so hard to remember the name of this book. It was like, being from the Midwest, most of the high schools, you had to read this book somewhere between 8th grade and 12th grade. You had to read this book and do a report on it. Everybody had to do it. But the book subject matter was on a perfect utopia.
Yeah.
Animal Farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That book being set up like that, if you go back and research in that book, and based on what they described as a perfect utopia is what they're trying to create now. You take the technology, the doggone man-made stricken disease,
yeah,
the laws and the one-sided directiveness based on doggone who you are, or should I say what you are.
Keep talking. I got to turn my ear down.
I set up the other day and I was looking at everything that's been going on politically
and you know what I'm saying, and what's been going on basically just throughout the United States. And the first thing that came across my mind was that book. Because remember, we had to read that book cover to cover and write a report on it. It was the curriculum.
I reference that book often.
Right. And it's like, these are the things that don't happen with our children anymore. They don't bring that type of material to their attention or make it part of the curriculum for them to graduate because it educated them. Because you got to think about it. All three of us, all separate places, learned from that book. See, we were the one that was slick, like getting the information. We wasn't, and now everything that they're doing now, when it's based on the theory of teaching, is a way to sugarcoat, cover up, and doggone uplift Confederacy.
Right.
So I don't understand why people don't see it. If somebody like myself sees it, okay, I'm not even a politician. I'm not even off in the, I'm not in the guts. I don't even go to town meetings, which I don't condone, so I don't say that's a hip hip hooray. I think everybody should go in and get involved and see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because first and foremost, I keep my opinions to myself until the opinions doggone either interact with somebody I know, love, and care about, or somebody close to my community, or something that's going to affect the future of these kids that have no choices or no votes in the matters, and they don't know what's going on. And at the end of the day, bro, we federally fucked.
Okay.
So, those soldiers that are standing on the corner overseas and all that, that's the bullshit motherfucking version of us. You think them fucking cameras are up for traffic? You think they can give two shits about a motherfucking goddamn ticket you running a light? They strategically put them motherfucking cameras up, and they do it in the urban communities in order to control the urban communities, in order to know where to put the patrols at, in order to pick up more doggone prisoners to doggone pick up more revenue.
Oh, because the prisons are now privatized.
Thank you.
Right. Notice, like now that we have this interim police chief here in Detroit, for example, there are certain priority places, as he talks about, that needs to be monitored. Of course, one of the big ones is downtown Detroit. You cannot go 4 city blocks without seeing some type of patrol car, horse patrolmen, bike patrolmen, patrol people walking around, particularly on the weekends, because you're messing with the money, okay? We're trying to get more people to come here and want to live here so that as we expand out downtown and rebuild more of that part of the city, that the people can come and be a part of what we got going on here. Because we're not trying to remodel the city. We're trying to regentrify. We're just trying to fix things up for you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
That part.
Regentrify. That's fuck you spelled backwards.
Did I say regentrify? I'm sorry. That was a mistake.
Yeah, it was. Because I wasn't supposed to understand all the syllables in it.
Yeah, that part. But yeah, Miko is saying, hey, Big Red, you just tapped into that spiritual discernment, which is the reason why we do what we do in media. This is part of our purpose to make sure that our people know the real truth about what's going on. Everything you said is validated in some of the movies we've already seen, like The Matrix, Minority Report, The Purge, and yes, are based off theories like 1984 and Animal Farm, 2 of those books that we're talking about.
1984.
Yep.
Let me tell you about that right there.
Big Brother's watching.
Big Brother's watching. If y'all don't read this material, bro, or just even remember the material, because the material we speaking on was mandatory for us.
Right.
If you go back and reference this stuff and remember the key points of these doggone novels that we read, bro, look around. Look what we're going through. Remember how much power the authorities had in both of those books?
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
The pigs are wearing the pants now. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The kids wearing the pants, that's children of the corn, ain't it?
No, the pigs wearing the pants. That's Animal Farm.
Oh, you said the pigs. I thought you said the kids.
Oh, the pigs wearing the pants. That's Animal Farm.
Yeah, Animal Farm. Yeah, the pigs wearing the pants. Yeah, but I thought you said the kids because the kids wearing the pants. That was Children of the Corn.
That was Children of the Corn.
Okay. But here's where this is, because I think we need to do a call to action, and that there is all these books we just named. Particularly, let's start with Animal Farm.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do a book club on that. Everybody get a copy of that book. And let's sit down here and pick that bitch apart.
I like that.
Okay, let's pick it apart. When we read it back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
read it because we had to do it for a book report.
But we read it, because it was a mandatory part of the curriculum.
Right.
And we read it, but we used it and referenced it as if it was an encyclopedia. But now we can read it based on the walks of our lives. And we're going to find characteristics of things that have went on right there in front of our face. Things that we have seen on the news that have happened to other people. That possibly things that have happened to us. We didn't recognize it was in a book we read years ago.
Exactly. Exactly.
On Amazon, it's $3.99, folks.
Is it?
Also have it on Audible, by the way.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, shit. Is it on Prime?
Animal on Prime.
Oh, love. That means I'll get it in 2 days. Yeah. Okay.
No, bro. This one's on me. Got you. No, I got the address. It's on its way.
Because see, this here. See, when we're talking about educating us and wanting to make sure that the information is out there. This is what it is. Wait a minute. Lanier said this. What he say? There was a movie made of Animal Farm. Y'all are going to get me to try to find it and watch it again. Or if not, make it required reading. Maybe make it required viewing for the visual age. Honey, I say both. And because you know how they say, the movie is one thing, but the book is a whole different thing. Let's do both.
There's everything.
Yep.
Okay. So let's do that because, see, right now what we're dealing with is I'm going to call it the erasure of us. Power to the people to keep saying that. They're trying to destroy the Black family. They're trying to erase us. But it's more than just that. Because as technology keeps advancing,
I'm sorry. I'm so sick of fucking hearing that they trying to destroy the Black community, or they trying to destroy the Black man, which is the sole center of the doggone Black family, not in the motherfucking America. Okay, peep the game. If they trying to do this, why the fuck do we keep clapping the erasers together and handing them back to them? Now figure that out.
Oh, wait a minute. Do we clean the erasers for them to do it? Do we clean the erasers for them to erase us?
You're damn right.
Wait a minute. That's the banner. Hold on. I got to let that go across the screen. We are on board. Think about it. If you're not involved, you can't evolve. Right or wrong? Okay.
True.
Come on, man. It's one thing to be politically correct, but it's another thing to be politically incorrect. And politically incorrect is doggone having an opinion with no knowledge.
How about that?
What they say, Eric? Bipartisan? How about bipartisanate?
Yeah, that part. That part right there.
Right.
Okay.
You better stop using words, man. We ain't supposed to know.
Okay. Nina said, let me grab some popcorn. You got my attention when you said 1984. Come on now. There's a number of movies and research department. We need to put a list together again.
Agreed.
Okay. And the reason why I'm saying that because when we first started coming, the first onset of the pandemic, I had told folks we need to go look at Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. We need to look at Outbreak And it was a third one. Wait a minute, it was another one that I said that we need to look at. And I said Demolition Man, because there's a scene in there that's up on YouTube. Actually, that this particular scene is where Sandra Bullock asks Sylvester Stallone, "Do you want to have sex?" Okay,
I already know.
You know, he went and thought he was going to get him a real good piece. With these goddamn virtual glasses and shit. And he was like, what the hell is this? What, you know? And so the conversation became, oh no, human contact? What are you talking about? No, that's disgusting. That's outlawed by now. You know, we don't do human contact with sex or this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And that whole thing. And when you look at that,
we don't exchange bodily fluids.
Yeah, it was outlawed to exchange bodily fluids. Okay, so when you look at that, I said, "Oh my God!" And here we are. You know, they stay 6 feet away from each other. You know, and at one point they didn't want you to be around nobody in the house. Remember in the beginning of this, if you was in the same house, they want you to be in one room, somebody else be in the other room. Okay, then it said, as long as you got your bubble together, blah blah blah. But see, we need to look at these movies.
Another good movie to reference here, The Truman Show.
Yeah.
A lot of people slept on that movie.
Yeah.
I swear that's Jim Carrey's best movie he ever did.
Yeah.
By far.
Oh, yeah. But guess what, Meech? If you look at how we were raised, we was brought up in many cases under a dictatorship, authoritarianship style of leadership. So we've already been programmed, conditioned, and indoctrinated to do exactly what they want until we really became woke. Now, you better understand that, because you know what? As children, you're right, because as kids, there is no democracy. This is all a dictatorship when you're a kid.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, you're going to do like I say do, or there's a consequence. So yeah, that's okay. Ooh, that's good.
You know, we grew up in the black household on that because I said so.
Right.
The boss up in here.
Okay, yeah.
I see you, Nat. I see
you got me thinking now, because see, I was just talking with my road dog in New York, and he was like, since when do we sit up and he said he was walking and a woman was pushing her baby in the stroller. Now you know that just upsets me, that you got 5 and 6 year old in a goddamn stroller still. That bothers me. Okay. But she pushing him, and so now he said the discussion was, what do you want to eat? You know, and so he's going on down the list of what he wanted to eat, blah, 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 blah. And he said, since when do we start asking them, kids, what they want to eat or what you want me to cook for dinner?
Okay.
You know,
ever since the system of entitlement became part of raising children.
Let me ask you more bothered by the 5-year-old getting pushed in the stroller, Coco's daughter still breastfeeding at 5. Ice-T's wife.
You know what? That whole breastfeeding thing, I'm trying to understand why.
Ain't nothing to understand. That's some freaky shit.
You know, I'm trying to understand that, because see, there was a while ago, there was a documentary done on breastfeeding, and I know that boy was 10 years old, with little white boy with glasses on, honey. He was brown hair. And he was talking about how sweet the mother's milk was and everything. And they keep talking about how mother's milk is best for the child. Okay, they get all the nutrients and this, that, and the other. Which
this is 2021.
Yeah, but at what point do you sit down and say, okay, no, because see, a child got to grow up eventually,
right?
You know what I'm saying? I don't understand how a woman would sit down there and allow the weight from all that milk to still be there when the baby is 5, 10 years old. How in the hell you still pumping your titties for milk to produce so that you can feed a child who is capable of going in the refrigerator and pouring a glass of milk or whatever for cereal and shit?
And again, I understand all the benefits of breast milk. Hell, the bodybuilders use breast milk supposedly. It helps them work out. But in the same token, this is 2021. There are several breeding devices that they have to pump the breast milk and put the milk out to it. The fact that you are still physically breastfeeding your child at 5, no.
Right. Okay. And that's why I am with that, because I understand the connection. I understand, that it's a very intimate thing and this, that, and other between mother and child. But I think I'm looking at it because at this particular point, at 5, 10 years old, y'all already had to talk about the birds and the bees at this particular stage of the game.
In 2021, you got to have that somewhere.
You know what I'm saying? So when does it become where we're looking at this from a conscious standpoint? I know I saw, I didn't read it, but I heard that Ice-T did a clapback. I'm like, what the fuck y'all concerned about my child for? And the whole thing of it is this, in this day and age, especially now that we got social media and everybody is offering their own opinions on shit, and then creating controversy where there need not be. If that's a private thing between y'all or whatever, does it warrant a discussion? Of course it does, because it's like, how are you able to do that? What is it about that you getting off of? Because it's not necessarily you doing it for the child's benefit, damn it. You done got connected somehow because you still got this boy or this child, a girl, boy, girl, child, still latched to your goddamn titty, and that your man can't get on it. Okay, so now it's not even a sexual organ anymore, or return back to a sexual organ because you still feeding. So that warrants a conversation. But now it goes to, why is it that you feel you have to do that this particular way, or why is it that there has never been any rules as to what the cutoff age is? So again, that's one of those ambiguous things, that we have in life, where there really is no rule of when you're supposed to cut them off or whatever. But the question becomes, why haven't you yet? What is keeping you from doing it? It's kind of like the same thing with people who take medication. I go back to the episode of Golden Girls, when Rose was on that damn medicine and had been taking that medicine for 25 years or whatever it was. She taking it just to be taking it because the doctor had prescribed it, and they never said, no, you don't need this anymore or whatever. She was just taking it to be taking it, and then trying to wean herself off of it. Hell, she went through mood swings or whatever because she got addicted to it. So is this, is that part of something they need to look at? Does the pediatrician need to come in and say, well, mother, we need to, guide your child or whatever, but so whatever okay, so the baby is 4 years old. Okay. So at 4 years old, depending on where she is, and then now is she developing this? Are there any developmental deficiencies? Because sometimes that may be the child may have a development, and it may take a little longer. So we don't know all of the ramifications. But I do believe that this particular subject needs to have some kind of discussion, because I think it becomes an addiction for both the parent and the child. If all the child knows is to go to the titty to get the damn food, and you ain't stopped them because you're providing it, then what is that? What is that connection there that makes the mother afraid to give it up?
Right. Now, my understanding is that the child does eat regular food as well. It's just that from time to time, whoop, there it is. So,
really?
Yeah, like I said, it talks about it in the article. I sent the link for people to check it out.
Wow. Okay. And now you know what? Because see, this particular conversation goes up there with telling a woman what to do with her body. Because see, now here we go. We talk about abortions. You can't tell her what to do with her body. Now we got the flip side of it. Now she got the child that want to keep the child latched onto the titty. That you say she ain't supposed to do out in public because you think it's gross. No, what it is, you think it's sexual because you see a titty and you see a child on the titty, and you done got hot because you saw a titty and a nipple. Okay. And you want to think that it's gross. No, she's feeding. Hell, didn't you just take your ass to McDonald's or Burger King? Okay, the baby hungry. Now, if she doing that in public with that 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 10-year-old, now that's where if it's done at home, and how do we find that out?
You know, I read all the news feeds. That's how I found it out. But
No. My question is, who took it to the news?
That's a good question. Unless she was doing it publicly.
And that's my point. Unless she was doing this out in public, who took it to the news? Because from what this is sounding like, this is a private thing that was done at home. Because like the 10-year-old that I'm talking about, I would have never known that had it not been on the documentary when they were talking about breastfeeding. I got to find that. I got to find that. It was a documentary, and there was a 10-year-old saying that he still likes to feed from his mom. So that's very interesting. Very, 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 very interesting. I would want to know, how did this become a newsworthy topic? Okay, because who took it to the news for this to get out there? Because you know, Coco was already in the news because of her body, her shape and carrying on. I don't believe that she's 100% Caucasian. I think she's like what Persian or stuff. You know, she's a colored woman. Okay.
Okay. The documentary, was it not the name of it Feed On?
I don't remember. I just know it was done in the 2000s, I believe. I've been down here since 2007 here. So check somewhere between 2008 and 2015. It might be that. I don't remember the name. I just know the one was sitting up in there. She had a 10-year-old child up in there telling them he's still going to the titty. And she said in there, he would come home from school and just go straight to her breast. And I'm like, how did you allow this child to do that? Just go straight to the titty because he's hungry. Like, went to the refrigerator or something.
Well, I can tell you there are several documentaries about such things. So y'all can pick one.
Wait a minute. Okay. Okay. Have mercy.
It's at least 50.
Yeah, wait a minute. I got to go. I'm gonna find this because I just looked up something. Hold on for a minute. Let's do this. Let me take a quick little commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna jump gears and go into another aspect of today's show. And yeah, I thought I wasn't gonna get into this today because I did my big meets moment yesterday on this shit, but damn it, something done happened, and now I want to know why. Okay, why is it that we love to do unnecessary bullshit? Okay, is it because we just like to have something to talk about, or what? We'll be right back in a moment, honey. Okay, right back in a moment. Wait a minute. I said right back in a moment and Mr. Q. Okay, right there.
Whether you are a resident or visiting the ATL, if you need to satisfy your soul and your hunger with some good old-fashioned scrumptious victuals, then head on over to Tara Boulevard and feast at the Country Kitchen Cuisine Buffet. The Country Kitchen Cuisine Buffet has a mouth-watering array of delicious delicacies that will tempt your tummy, tantalize your taste buds, and please your palates. All of our items on the buffet are made from scratch, just like Grandma used to make. Try our meatloaf, the succulent fried chicken, the smothered pork chops, the short ribs, the fried and baked fish. Try our oxtails, the turkey wings, and don't forget some of those fantastic sides with the macaroni and cheese, cornbread dressing, greens, cabbage, red beans and rice, potatoes and gravy, and oh my God, don't forget the cornbread and those decadent desserts. Your hunger will not be denied. Come on down to the Country Kitchen Cuisine Buffet, located at 8562 Tara Boulevard in Jonesboro, Georgia. Come on down and tell them that Big Meech and Dishing Tea has sent you. Yeah.
Angelo Ellerby, the Henry Higgins of hip-hop, is the founder, president, and CEO of Double Exposure Media Relations. Double Exposure Media Relations is a full-service public relations, marketing, and artist development firm specializing in publicity, photography, artist promotion and artist development, makeup artistry, event production, and EPK development. Celebrating over 45 years in the industry, Angelo believes that a culture that does not take care of nor respect its artists is a culture that leaves nothing behind to appreciate. Let Angelo help you make dollars and cents of the entertainment industry. Contact Double Exposure Media Relations at 201-224-6570. That's 201-224-6570.
We're not asking for your permission. We're not seeking your approval. We're claiming what's ours in the name of our ancestors. We are their answered prayers. This is more than a movement. This is a revolution. Black innocence. What are yours today? Attention all business owners. Use your advertising dollars here. Looking to reach a more diverse audience for your products and or services? Well, this is the platform for you. Dishing Tea Entertainment welcomes all businesses who wish to expand their brands and looking for clientele that's more than grown and sexy, but also the seasoned and sophisticated. For more information on how this spot can be yours, contact Big Meat at 404-914-5610 or go to our website at www.dishingtea.com.
All right, and we are back. If you're just tuning in with us, honey, you're Dishing Tea with Big Meat. We got Big Red, who I just had to go take care of something, and we got the Buckman, honey, direct from the Not Hot Network right here. We got the CEO and creator. This is Eric Buckner up here with us right now. We're going to go here. I'm going to tie these two together because this is Hollywood talking. But I'm going to get here first because I just want to be done with all this bullshit. Y'all know the baby done came up and did all this old bullshit and carrying on. And I said what I said about that and things. Leave that fuck alone. If y'all don't fuck with him, don't fuck with him, okay? I understand what it is to be humiliated and things and to feel as though, you know, he was disrespectful. And he made it a gay thing when he started calling out the gay community, you know. Now, when he made his initial comments, he didn't call out the gays specifically. I was going to say per se, not specifically, but specifically, he did not call them out. But when you say, fellas, if you ain't in the parking lot sucking dick, okay, whatever. But here's where he did. He called out the gay children when he stood up there in his first apology and said, listen, my gay fans, they ain't got AIDS. My gay fans are classy. They ain't doing that nasty shit to come up in there with that shit. So now you just made this a gay thing. Okay? You made it a gay thing. Then we have the second apology that came out that was a little bit more crafted and a little bit more eloquent, you know, and things of that nature. Now you're on the apology tour because you got damage control to do. Okay? The damage control apology was full of shit to me because had he not given the first one, that was his own words,
Right.
that was good alone. You know what I'm saying? That could we'd have known, okay, we got damage control, bada boom. But you gave the half-ass one first, which was from the heart, because you talking. But here's what this is, that it became a story again, or folks just decide they don't want to let the goddamn thing go. Y'all are familiar with Pose, the TV series, right? And y'all remember Miss Candy, honey. That was the one that had the hammer and things, the one that got killed, right? Well, she had put up a tweet, and she said that she had met the baby, okay? And she describes how she met him. Let me go to the tweet, okay? This is what she said. Okay, wait a minute. Because it was very innocent. She said, story time. I actually met the baby earlier this year. Flew home to ATL and had his gaze stuck on me as I walked towards him because he was standing next to my limo driver. He looked at the sign, then back at me. Miss Ross, he read out loud. I just laughed and left with my driver. Okay? Now, that's all she said. Okay? But what's gonna happen, straight folks, y'all motherfuckers get on my goddamn nerves when y'all want to read into something, when you're sitting up there trying to jump to conclusions, when you're sitting up there putting shit in and ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Okay? All she said was he looked at me. He gazed at me as I'm walking toward him because he's standing next to my limo driver. Okay. Now, whatever the gaze was, they gazed at each other. Y'all know how it is when you're walking up on somebody because you say to yourself, who the hell is this next to my driver? Okay. Now, whether he clocked her T or not, we don't know. That's not what was said. Okay. But now the comments want to go and, oh my God, he could tell that's a man and he could tell this and, oh, you shouldn't be sitting up here saying no shit like that. He wasn't trying to get with you. What the fuck you trying to say? You wrong for this? Really? Because she's trying. This is the one thing that I can't stand with you motherfuckers. See, because you think you know something, you want to act as if you're an authority on it. Okay? Trans people know how to pull a nigga when they need to. Or for my trans women, for my trans men, they know how to pull a bitch. Okay? When they want to, when they need to, they know who to go after. Okay? They don't need your help in trying to clock their T or just that. They don't need your help or need you to be no wingman or whatever because they told a story and you tried to interpret that, oh, you trying to say that the baby like that. That ain't what she said. Okay, what she said was we called each other's gaze. He looked down at my plate, looked back up at me, and said, Miss Ross. That's all he said. She said, I laughed and I left with my driver. Okay, nothing in there that said anything sexual, anything outside of we met. But you bitches want to take this to the far extreme. And now y'all trying to comfort her T. Oh, she's clockable. No, that ain't the word that y'all use. Oh, that's a man and this, that, and the other. Shut your goddamn mouth some of the motherfucking time. Yes, I said it just how the fuck I said it. Because I get so sick of this shit. This ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Y'all creating unnecessary fights. Unnecessary fights.
Right.
And y'all going public with this. See, if you had said that amongst your girlfriends and shit, that's the thing about social media right now. See, some of this shit that y'all have in conversation is supposed to be kitchen table talk, not goddamn Facebook talk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Had you said that to your girlfriends and cared all, you know, girl, because we all do it. When we sit down amongst ourselves or whatever for the kiki of the moment, we all do that shit. That's just being human. But now you took this shit to a whole nother level, trying to create something that's not even there. Why is that your business for you to sit down there and to try to make something happen? Y'all wasn't even like this when Sydney Starr knew she lied about Chingy. When the whole thing about Sydney Starr come out about the Chingy, how she what I think she said she sucked the dick or whatever it was, because he didn't know how, he didn't clock her T. Y'all wasn't this upset about that. Even when it came out that she lied, you wasn't this upset. Now all of a sudden, because the baby this and because he the hot topic, now all of a sudden y'all asses want to get into your feelings and shit, and y'all done let RuPaul's Drag Race give you the authority to think that y'all know about trans life. And that's RuPaul's Drag Race. Then they got that's drag, bitch. That's stage and performance. That's stage and performance. If you pay attention to the show, all of them come in as men, honey, and they get dressed. That's performance. This is not trans living. When those children, honey, are living their lives, honey, this is what I do. This is how I live my life. And they end up doing shows because in the alphabet world, they are most accepted there and they can make an honest living versus having to be on the stroll. But that's transgender education that I don't feel like getting into right now. Okay? But right now, all of this bullshit is bullshit. Would y'all let this shit die, please? Would y'all let this story just let it alone? He needs to sit down here. I done said yesterday. He needs to go head on. If you claim you want to be educated, goddammit, take your ass down to an HIV ward. Okay? You go to an HIV ward and watch how they have to be, how they have to deal with their medicines. I'm not talking about a ward where most of these folks are just having a setback. I want you to go somewhere where they're in hospice care. Okay? So you can see what the hell the disease does. You want to talk about movies, you need to sit your ass down and watch An Early Frost. And what was that other movie that came out a couple years ago that talked about what this is? You need to sit down and educate yourself that way. Understand what the fuck it is that you're talking about.
Right.
Because you don't have a point of reference.
And you need to put in the work. Understand. A person that I would reach out to if I was the baby right now, I go talk to the homie Nick Cannon. He had to go through a whole bunch to get himself back on track. Not to mention the fact, Wild and Out, the season premiere is next week on Tuesday.
Right.
I'm real interested to see if there's a toned down version or if they still do Wild and Out like they did Wild and Out with all the racial slurs and all.
But we all see. Where did they take? I wonder whether they take this year coming up to Atlanta.
Also, another good question.
I wonder because they were, and if they were, they didn't stay with us. That's my point.
Right, but that's the original point. The baby, like I said, you had a lot of things on deck. I mean, right now, you and Dua Lipa got one of the top songs in the country. This is not the time to mess yourself up. You didn't say it too much. You need to do whatever you need to do to get the ship back on the shore, okay?
What he needs to do is shut the fuck up and lay low. If you're gonna go and do your educational tour and whatever, that needs to be done. Your team needs to sit down there and whisk you in, honey.
Mm-hmm.
And there need to be no fanfare, because if it becomes fanfare behind it, then you're doing it for the cameras. He needs to go and really, really get this done, lay your ass low, and then come back with a newfound respect.
Right. And I'm not trying to see no song with you and Lil Nas X. I already
get out of my head.
See that happening. I already see that being in the works. Don't do it. Don't do it. Nas X, do it.
Because I was just about to say, okay, if you come back, and it ain't got to be Lil Nas. Here, there's other people. If you want to sit down there and do a collaboration, no, Lil Nas. Hell, you could do Deadly. Deadly is a gay rapper. Okay, you could do that. Okay, but Lil Nas, that would be for the attention of it. No, if you do it honestly. Get somebody who you feel spit some real shit.
Right.
And just happen to be gay and do it that way. You ain't got to sit there and prove nothing like that just to appease the crowd and say, oh, I got LGBT friends, because see, that's not what we're looking for. What we need you to do is to be accountable for the shit that came out your motherfucking mouth, and then stop acting as if my folks were classy. No, nigga, you said some fucked up shit.
But no, he ain't gonna do right bad. He gonna do all this. He'll be on the Breakfast Club in a couple weeks, or one of them types of shows talking about it and saying too much, and then hopefully start the forgiveness tour at the iHeart Music Festival and some Saturday night thing on Saturday Night Live a few months later.
Okay.
Play out.
So now let's go here, because I said I want to lump all this in with Hollywood, and that there is the story on Angela Bassett. Okay. Angela Bassett has now reached the pinnacle and has done something unprecedented at this particular point. She has become the highest paid Black actor in television ever. Okay. Now, I just found an article that was saying how much he was paid. And what they were saying is that she's getting paid like $450,000 per episode, right? For doing 911.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if that there is her actor salary, but because she's also a producer on that.
Right.
She's a producer on that and on 911 Lone Star. Okay. So because of that, whatever that fee is, I'm like, okay, why is that anybody's business, number one? I don't like when we get to talking about how much these folks make an episode, because I feel that sets them up for harm and carrying on. I don't like it when we do it with ball players and everybody know that they done made this $1 million. They got a $150 million contract over the next 5 years. So okay, you break that up, and so you know how much they make in a year,
right?
So that you could get in their pockets, and you set them up for groupies and this and that. You set them up for folks who want to be stalkers and this, that, and the third.
Right.
So why is that anybody's business, number one? Okay. Number two, is this really a victory? Or is this one of the stepping stones that we're just going to congratulate the stepping stone until we get to the next one? And I say that because $450,000 per episode, when the folks at Friends were getting $1.5 million.
And when the people in Big Bang Theory, the man who played Sheldon Cooper, Jim Parsons, they literally offered him $5 million an episode.
Per episode. Yeah, to keep the show going. So, Is this a victory for real? Or what are we looking at? What are we look? Because see, mind you, they said she's the highest paid Black actor, period.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought that I heard that Ellen Pompey, the white girl that's on Grey's Anatomy. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I went to Grey's Anatomy, and I'm seeing them side by side. But 911 women, they've done a crossover episode with who? Don't they do Grey's Anatomy sometimes? I know they do the Lone Star, but they do crossover episodes. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
My point was, I thought she got paid like $2 million per show, but I think I just fucked up my point because I got two shows mixed up. But nonetheless, she is the highest paid Black actor in television, period. And that's in the history. Okay. So are we happy? Genuinely happy, or is this, the stepping stone to say, okay, we done crossed that hurdle, good girl, good. Okay, you there, and if you there, then let's see what we can get to on the next one, because Kerry Washington had become the first Black actor to be a lead actress in a drama.
Yeah, Kerry Washington Scandal, right?
Yeah, when she did Scandal, she was the first Black actor to do that.
Right. Okay,
period. So now we're going further, and even Viola, because if she getting paid more than Viola, and Viola is the it girl,
right?
Now, what is that saying? You know what I'm saying? So how is it that we're looking at all of this, children? What is it that we need to do? And pulling Monique's point back, I've always agreed with her point, but I just said right fight, wrong tactic, because the way how she was doing this shit was fucked.
I'm glad you mentioned Viola Davis. I forgot Super Size Squad today. I got to do a review for that. Yeah.
Did it open today?
Yeah, it's on HBO Max today.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we got to check that out.
So that there was that I wanted to get on and see what y'all felt, but I see y'all done got quiet on that one. And so, okay. Cool beans, and cool beans again. So let's go to this last story that I'm going to do today. And that there is, y'all know I said yesterday that I got my first vax shot, finally. Okay. And y'all know yesterday on my Big Meech moment, I was telling y'all that I felt forced. And I still feel that way. Okay. However, you know, at this point in time, it was the best decision to make at this time because of how my circles are going. And you know, with the stuff I have coming in the future, it leads me to this particular story. And that there is how New York New York Mayor DeBlasio has put into place that if you are not vaccinated by September 13th, then honey, you gonna be SOL, because he's made it a mandate that you're going to have to show your vaccine card. Okay. To go places, to all the public places, to get into a movie theater, to get into government offices and this, that, and that, you're going to have to show your passport. And my questions are, is it fair? And I hope you are expecting other cities and states to follow suit. So first off, do you believe that this is fair? As far as I'm concerned, I don't think that it's fair at all. I understand the sentiment behind it, but I still don't think that this is fair. Because again, are we a fucking democracy or are we a goddamn dictatorship? You know?
Okay, now here's where I'm at with it. As I'm posting a story, y'all, give me a second.
Okay.
All right, there's the story. Okay, now I'm torn on this one, to be honest. On the one hand, I get it. Remember, when we first started talking COVID-19 and outbreaks, what place was the biggest outbreak in the world at that point? New York City.
Right.
A place where they were putting people in freezer trucks and burying them in mass sites out near New Jersey and things of that nature.
Right.
Really, really bad. The last thing you want as mayor of New York to have to go through all that, seeing all the money and resources and such you lost in a year and a half from being partially opened and closed. You want to avoid that at all costs. So if this is what, based upon the science, the decision you come to, that's one thing. But on the other hand, you have the businesses now that are starting to either mandate that you get the vaccine or else, or the places that saying, okay, you don't want to get the vaccine, that's fine. But guess what? Every 2-3 days, we taking that test. If you test positive, you got to go on and sit on down for a little while. So at some point, the bottom line is we got to get to some type of solution with this thing, okay? We know we stuck with COVID-19. It's not going to go away. The vaccines, as I often say on my show, we will say again, vaccine is not cure. Vaccine is not cure. So because of that, we have to understand that we need to get the numbers to a small amount, just like there are a small amount for the flu, a small amount for people dying from pneumonia, things of that nature. We cannot get to that at our present rate. Understand that in the summertime, yes, the numbers are down, but summertime about to be over and the vaccines are not going up quick enough, but the numbers already are. There are 5 places in America right now where COVID is very bad. One of them is right where my brother Meech is, okay? And then some other states are Texas. Remember how quick they was to be like, no, we ain't doing none of that. One of the worst places in Texas right now. It's supposed to be, according to one article, the best city in the United States to live in. Austin, Texas, has one of the worst COVID problems in the country right now. You got New Orleans, Louisiana, and what they'd have done in terms of having everybody wear masks once again. Either we're going to wear masks and try to social distance, or we're going to require everybody to take the vaccines, or we're going to require everybody to be tested. But for those people dead set on not doing anything in regards to that, y'all going to have to work with something, okay? Otherwise, we have to talk about shutting stuff down again, and you don't want that. You don't want that. So that's they're going to lead to saying, okay, this Biden's fault. That's going to lead us to getting stupid back in office. You don't want that.
Okay. Let's go here because here's why I am with it. And Derek just put up here saying that he thinks that the vaccine card is good because now we can get HIV cards too. And the whole thing of it, the HIV card, when you go get your HIV test and whatever your diagnosis is, they give you a copy of your test results there. Okay. If you ask for an anonymous test or a confidential test, you know, you have to say, I want the results. Okay. The thing of it is, my thing with these damn regulating the cards is that even now, whether you're vaccinated or not, this damn strand, honey, you're still able to contract it. Okay. So if you're still able to contract it, what if me proving to you that I took the vaccine is going to make you feel safer? Because if I got the vax, and yet I'm still now considered to be a fucking super spreader if I got this, then what is the point? My thing is, if you're not going to do the mask mandate, because you know that there is what helps to prevent this. If you do the mask mandate and the goddamn stuff, you know, I can't, the physical distancing, it ain't social, the physical distancing, okay, then we're able to sit down there and still at least get some shit done. You know what I'm saying? That's the part that I'm having an issue with, because everybody keep wanting to put this damn vax down everybody's throat, but you don't want to wear a motherfucking mask. That there is crazy. Okay? Because here's the thing. Now to say, oh, I'm fully vaxxed, that now is becoming a political statement. Now, you know how I am. When folks start saying shit and then it starts to become the tagline now, you have now politicized this. Right. Okay? Oh, I'm fully vaxxed. I'm fully vaxxed. Okay? No, because that, like you keep saying, it doesn't mean cure. And if you're not doing what you need to do to stay vaccinated,
right, then you end up like Senator Graham.
Yes.
Vaccinated, but yet still having COVID because you constantly around people not wearing masks, not
wearing masks and trying to prove a fucking point.
Right.
You know, oh, well, the governor opened up the state and this is supposed to be open and I'm an American citizen. My freedoms are being violated. Wear the goddamn mask or stay at home.
Right.
We got all these damn Uber services and Grubhub and carrying on. You know, we got you could do online pickup. You know, you could ride up and they could drop it in the car. They have all these different services now that have been created. New jobs have been created out of this goddamn pandemic. Okay, so I'm looking at this from the standpoint of, if you're going to regulate the card and the little vaccine passport, then how come we haven't done that for everybody? Because I know when I moved here to Atlanta, I had to go to the health department to get my vaccination card from my childhood vaccines. You know, to find out when was the last time I had my booster shots and carrying on, because I was coming to a whole new state. So now if we're going to regulate that, then how come this don't go down as you're in the public record as part of your vaccination with all the rest of your vaccines? Yeah, I got you. Well, tell the folks bye.
I'm about to, man. Hey, y'all, got to head out. Got to do some things in the Vigo Street. Also on culture, by the way. For those of you familiar. Thanks, Big Meech, as always, for letting me chime in. We constantly got stuff going here, y'all. But definitely keep watching Big Meech. Go back to the past episodes. Some excellent conversations went on there. I do that at least once a week now, where I go back to some of the past episodes. We've been talking good stuff. Keep it up. Remember, we're going to go to Dish and Tea with Big Meech on YouTube. And make sure you like and subscribe, okay? Do that. I'll see y'all.
All right, but go to the Vigo Streets. Okay, he done put his glasses on, y'all. He finna go get a DJ on, and y'all finna get some cool little sounds and stuff over there on in the Vigo Streets. But I wanted to come back with that because that there is where I am seeing the default and the deficiency in this thing. Okay, and then of course, if New York do it, then that means that's going to open up. No, they have done it. It's already a law. It's just that it's not active until September 13th. So now if they've done it, who else is going to jump on that bandwagon? who else is going to jump on that bandwagon? Because see, Governor Kemp here in Georgia done already said that he's not doing a mask mandate. What I feel that, we have to trust people to do the right thing, and a mask mandate, blah, blah, blah. We don't have the resources now to come down and to police folks about the mask. You don't have the resources. However, if it's a mandate, then that means I can stop you from coming to this motherfucking store. Okay. That means that now you are breaking the law. Now, we don't know what the consequences are, but we can stop you from doing this and this. It can be something to where we say, no, this is a matter of public health. Okay. And if you're not going to at least take care of the basic stuff that we're asking, masking and sanitizing and carrying on, or wearing the gloves. If you feel comfortable wearing gloves instead of always sanitizing your hands, how come those particular things are a bigger problem, or folks do not want to adhere to that, but y'all willing to say, oh, get this damn vax, and then I'm gonna show you my card. So who's walking around with your how many of y'all got your voter's registration card in your purse or in your wallet? Do y'all walk around with that? Or do you have to find it when it's time to go vote? So you're doing that because it's the same thing. You keep your voter's registration card on you. Same thing with your vaccine card. You're going to keep that in your bag, in your purse, in your wallet, in your pocket. Okay, if you keep it in your pocket unprotected, what happens if you get washed in the laundry accidentally? How could you get it replaced if you don't have it anymore? Okay. So those are some of the questions that I have, honey. And at this particular point, I really believe that we are a hamster on a wheel just running, because this bitch is running and running and going nowhere. At least that's how I'm seeing it at the moment, at this present moment, because it's not making a lot of sense. I understand the sentiment behind it. I see what you're trying. I see what the goal is, or what you think the hypothesis is going to be. I get what you're trying to go, but right now, trying to get there, these waters are not charted properly. So those are my thoughts right now. So having said all that, y'all got quiet on me. Y'all are still watching, but you got quiet, and that's fine, because it is that time. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm going to break here and get ready to go and stretch out. I just need to stretch. I got this twinge in my lower back that's been bothering me for a little piece of a minute, and I'm like, oh, like it's kind of like I slept wrong or something, like I got a crook in my back or something, and I don't like that feeling. I'm like, okay, what is it? But that's where we are. So I'm going to stretch out and get into the rest of this evening. You guys do the same thing, honey, and enjoy the rest of your night, okay? So here at Dish and Tea with Big Meats, honey, on behalf of my co-hosts, Aunt Nikki and the big guy ally, Big Red, honey, and our special guest today, Mr. Eric Buck, Buckner, from the Nighthawk Network, honey. We thank you for your time, your love, and your energy today, honey. So listen, honey, you may finish all of your crumpets, my darling, because the tea has been dished, and you've been dishing tea, darlings. Oh, with Big Meats. If you love me, honey, tell all of your friends, baby. If you hate me, tell all of your motherfucking enemies. But do know this. Everything that we're doing over here, honey, any way, shape, style, form, or fashion, will move forward, okay? So on that note, my babies, we'll see you guys on the next go-round, and we will call that grace. So, woohoo! And scene.